three-time defending state champion Bloomington Jefferson. So this is an amazing 6-game run for this Pioneer team, considering their 0-4 start.
And 2 of those wins were also down there at the Civic Center. One's against a Cretin-Durham Hall team that didn't look too strong, but another one against a good Minnetonka team. And then a couple of blowouts here this week. Mounds View, a team we thought would at least contend for the title, be about a third-place team. And all Hill Murray did was roll up a 7-goal third period to run away with the game. So they've really played impressive, and they've done it against a couple of pretty good teams. They're just playing real solid hockey.
And last week, they outscored their 2 opponents by a combined 17-3. Yes, it's Mounds View and Irondale, but let's remember, Irondale turned around and beat Roseville later in the week, who was supposed to be a contending team. And Tarmo, as you mentioned, to put it simply, those are the teams you're supposed to beat. You have to get it done.
And they did. The Irondale game, they just played a steady game all the way through. 3 goals each period, 9 goals in the game. Mounds View a little different. That was a close game for 2 periods, and then all of a sudden they just exploded, scoring 4 goals early in the period 2 on the same penalty kill. So they really just seemed to wake up when they needed to win the game, and that's really a sign of a good team. Do that in the 3rd period.
Well, and we talk about the goaltending woes on the White Bear side. On the Hill Murray side, they've had 2 guys who have really been doing a great job as of late, and they are battling so hard that they're alternating. And Steve Rolick said, hey, we're just switching them off. They're pushing each other. We love it. Keith, tonight, they go to Wild Bill Cody in the nets, and he's shown that he has the flair for the flamboyant, I guess, in the nets for the Pioneers.
Cody or Quigley, it doesn't matter. They're getting good, solid goaltending. They struggled a little bit out of the chute when they lost a couple games as the season started, but it's definitely a luxury that all coaches would like to have. Steve Rolick is in that situation this year. You'll remember a couple years ago, he was in much the same situation when Fred Hennon was an underclassman. They alternated goaltenders because he said they're competing against one another. One plays good, the other one feels he has to play that much better to stay in the lineup. So he'll alternate until one shows that he's not ready to play at that level. On the flip side of things, White Bear is struggling. They're looking for that change, and I think a big key for tonight's game will Niewolny needs to come out, make a couple saves right off the bat, whether they be easy saves or hard saves. He can't afford to give up a goal right away. It could really shatter his confidence coming into tonight's game.
When you look at these Hill Murray forwards, Tarmo, we put an awful lot of pressure on a sophomore transfer this season, Brandon Samper from Montemita. Hadn't scored a goal yet until last week. He got the last goal in that 9-1 win over Irondale, and then turned around and scored 2 more against Mounds View. He may have finally broken that seal, and as we saw last year, when he breaks the seal, the goals could come in bunches.
He's an outstanding player. Obviously, it's been a big adjustment coming to this program and coming to the caliber of schedule that they're playing here, and he's really had a hard time getting going. Not that he hasn't played well. He's been working hard out there. He just hasn't been running up the numbers. Fortunately for him, he's not really depended on for that. They've had Brian Hurley step up. He's got 10 goals in the season, 5 last week alone.
He certainly does. The Pioneers are on a roll. The Bears are trying to start one. Stay with us. We'll drop the puck when we come back. This is High School Hockey 95 on KABL. That is Washington Redskins kicker Chip Lowmiller on hand to help out at the Pioneer practice this week as he gets Bill Cody ready for action tonight against the Bears. And Bill's going to need all the help he could get because this is a hungry group of Bears and an explosive group of forwards led by Tom Jensen, who has been finding the back of the net with extreme regularity as of late, Tarmo.
Yeah, I think someone who would just walk in from the cold here and listen to our pregame would pretty well say we must be setting up an 8-1 Hill Murray route. They're so good and White Bear is not, but it's quite the opposite here. White Bear really with a lot of talent. They play a very tough schedule. They just haven't been able to beat the good teams, and then they've stumbled here in a couple other games, but you know somewhere along the way this team's going to break out, and there's no better place. It's better for them to come up with a win here over Hill Murray, a 1-goal win here, than to run up a 6-8 goal win like on the 11-0 win over Cretin-Durham Hall at the Civic Center.
And when you talk to the Bears about last season's slow start and their turnaround, which was an amazing one, the first thing they all point to are the 3 Hill Murray games last year. They had won 4 out of 5, came in here and got thumped. Then they strung together another string of victories, battled the Pioneers, and that was what pushed them over the edge. There's Bill Cody. He'll be stopping the puck for the Pioneers tonight He comes in with a record of 1-3 and a 4.01 goals against. This meeting tonight is meeting number 33 all-time between the teams as you look at Dave Newolny in the White Bear nets. And we are underway. The Bears in black, and they're offside right off the bat. We'll get a face-off in the neutral zone, but this is meeting number 34, excuse me. The Pioneers lead the series 24-8-1. But the Bears have won 2 of the last 3 last season, and those are the only 2 wins for White Bear in the last 9. The Pioneers have won 7 out of 9. And Rollick and Schwartz have met head-to-head 7 times. Rollick holding a 5-2 edge in that one. Of course, he swept a 4-game series from the Bears 2 years ago. Tim Wolf up the right wing boards is ridden into the corner by Rode. He got it out to Blair. Blair tried to get it back to Wolf in the slot, but it's cleared to center. And the Pioneers wrap it back in with Shane Spears. Rickstad starts the breakout for White Bear, gets it ahead to Pete Rode, who has been shifted permanently to defense for this Bears team. Schwartzbauer ridden off the puck at center. Puck comes back of the net. Pioneer breakout at center. It's relayed to the red line where Samper had it. Samper tipped it ahead, but that was broken up. And the Bears fire it back in. It'll be icing against White Bear Lake. Faceoff will come back into the Bears zone. We've played just about a minute. The Bears and the Pioneers for the 34th time squaring it off. And Tarmo, these teams have met 21 times in the last 7 years, and gives you an idea of how a rivalry is built.
And you can just think about one great game after another during that sequence. As you said, most of those being 1-goal games. And what game would be more of a classic than we only saw down at Mariucci last spring, the one that sent White Bear Lake to the state tournament.
Off the draw, it comes to center. Maher couldn't handle the puck. He has to go back and pick it up. He'll circle his net, avoids a check from Andy Will, pokes it ahead for Beldy, and Beldy backhands it out to center. It's too far for Samper. Samper regains control and fires it in. Simonson behind his own net. Pioneers attack on the forecheck. It's dug free. There's a shot by Beldy, and Newolny makes his first save as a Bear. Graham with a long shot from the point that flutters in on goal, and Newolny has passed test number 1 and test number 2 here in the opening minute and a half.
Fortunately for him, he didn't have to start out with a couple of point-blank blasts there. That's kind of hard to say. A couple of easy shots, was able to come up with them, and a chance to get loose here in the early going. You know that as the game wears on, Hill Murray, I'm sure, wants to pour on as many shots as they can and test him from every angle.
Watch it again as the shot comes from Graham out at the point. Graham, one of 3 freshmen in the lineup for the Pioneers tonight. Poke check at center by one of those freshmen. Dave Tanabe strips Pete Rode of the puck. Comes free at center. Hurley overskated it. Bears control. Podominic into the Pioneer zone. Fires on goal, and Cody makes his first save of the night. Hurley leads the breakout for the Pioneers. His pass too far for Wolf on the right wing. And Tanabe goes back to pick it up in his own zone. Tanabe plays it off the boards to center. Rode back for the Bears. Rink wide pass too far for Podominic. And the Pioneers will set it up behind their net. David Graham leads the breakout. Long pass at center is deflected by Quinlan. Now Quinlan regains their 2-on-1. Quinlan has Wolf up the slot. He fires, and a kick saved by Newolny. Rebound controlled by Jensen. He plays it ahead on the right wing. Too far for Mosley. Now Mosley backhands to center, and the Bears are back. Schwartzbauer back for Jensen. Jensen streaming in, and a save by Cody. Face-off will come in the Pioneer zone as the puck is covered up along the far boards, but Bill Cody has to make a big stop early against the top goal scorer in the Twin Cities Suburban in Tom Jensen.
And that was Tom Jensen breaking at the blue line. Take a look here. That play just barely onside as he went in, maybe being tugged. He was being tugged a little bit from behind. Might not have gotten that shot quite as high as he would have liked to have gotten it, but certainly a big save by Cody.
Jensen with 16 goals already on the season for White Bear Lake. Here's Mosley out front, and Cody may have deflected that one with a handle of his stick. We've played 3 scoreless minutes, and the Bears are on the attack. Jensen tries to work around Kruger, but lost it. Kruger plays it to the line. It's tipped to center. Peterson overskated it for the Bears and has to go back into his own zone. It's cleared to center, hits the referee's skate. Pioneers try and play it back into the zone. They finally do. Peterson intercepts and hits Mosley on the right wing. Mosley works around Kruger into the corner. Tried to center, but Kruger broke it up. And Quinlan has it on the left wing. He takes a big hit from Gallatin. Pioneers clear to the line. Gallatin fires it back in. It'll be offside, but the Bears retouch. White Bear completes a line change as the Pioneers break out. Long pass at center, springs Samper. Samper works around Pete Rode, dances around his check in the corner, but Rigstad's there to cover up for White Bear. Rigstad starts back. Rose has it at center across the Pioneer line. Tried to center, and that was intercepted. Maurer has it behind the net. To the line, but not out. Rigstad kept it in. Rigstad tried to center. It was tipped away, and here is Maurer at center. Maurer tried to center for Beldy, but that was broken up. Rose gets it ahead for Will. Will is stopped on the backhand. Rigstad scores! Jared Rigstad is third of the year on the rebound, and the Bears have drawn first blood at 4:25.
Jared Rigstad taking advantage of a big open net there. Another good pass, sending a man in all alone. We saw it earlier with Jensen. This time it was Will breaking free. He was able to put a backhand shot right on goal. Cody with a big save. Take a look at this rebound, though. Here's the pass coming in. There you see Will just barely staying onside. Go to his backhand. The stop is made, but Cody's down. The puck is there in the crease. Cleared out by the defense of Hill Murray, but not far enough. Rigstad there to bury it and make it a 1-0 game.
Rigstad's third of the year. They officially have credited the goal to Randy Gallatin, but it obviously was Rigstad that put the puck in the net, so I'm sure that one will be changed. Will gets the only assist on the goal, his fourth helper of the season. 10:13 to play, first period, and the Bears are in front 1-0. Blair has it at center, takes a check from Simonson as he rolls it into the White Bear zone. Peterson back to pick up. He's pinched off the puck in the corner by Hurley. Hurley kicks it free. Hurley tries to walk out front. He's spun around by Kiefer. Goes to the corner where Simonson starts back for White Bear. Plays it ahead for O'Gary. O'Gary wraps it off the near boards to center. Big check in the neutral zone. Dumps Shane Maher. Bears fire at the length of the ice. No icing as Cody had to play it. Cody nearly turned it over. He put it right on Schwartzbauer's stick. Pioneers clear to center as the action gets sloppy here in the mid stages of the first period. Klossner at center. Wraps it off the glass and into the White Bear zone. Niewolny turns it over behind the net. Quinlan tries to center. Laszlo has it behind the net, stripped away by Rode. Rode plays it up on the left wing. Schwartzbauer turned it over. Then fires to center where Tanabe goes back. Jensen picks his pocket. Jensen into the corner, tried to center, and Tanabe flattens him into the end wall. Schwartzbauer throws a big check as the action gets physical. Rick Klossner starts back for the Pioneers, crosses the red line and dumps it in. Laszlo's there, fires right on, and Niewolny stopped it. Pete Rode comes away with a puck. Samper pokes it off of his stick. Here's Graham with a drive, and Niewolny stops him again. And now we're going to have a penalty, I believe coincidentals, as the sticks got up between Rob Quinlan and Whitey Schwartzbauer, and it looks like they will each go at 6:22.
Well, only a matter of time before that started here in this game, the physical part, but take a look at that last chance turnover there at the White Bear defense. Graham walking right in, really blasting it, but it was right into the goaltender. All he had to do was cover it. And you saw the action afterwards there as Rob Quinlan tried to knock the rebound loose from his pads.
We'll play 4 aside as Quinlan and Schwartzbauer take the game's first 2 penalties. So obviously no power play will arise. Face off in the White Bear zone, controlled by Peterson. Walks in front of his own net and starts up the left wing. Gallatin is pinned to the boards by Tanabe. Rose digs it free for the Bears, but Tanabe covers up. Pioneers control at center. It is roughing against Schwartzbauer. Slashing is the call against Quinlan. But they are coincidental regardless of the call. Into the corner. Bauer had it. He was tied up and lost the puck. Rose circles his own net. Plays it there for Simonson. Simonson slammed into the boards by Maurer. It comes out to the point. Graham to Maurer, top of the circle. Maurer puts it right on the stick of Rose. Rose fires up the left wing for Gallatin, who is pulled down from behind. Maurer doesn't think he deserves this one, but it's a hooking minor. And at 7-17, the Bears will go on the power play.
I don't think there's too much that can be argued. It's going to be a holding call against him as he just grabbed on to the man breaking away there. You see the call being made, so a 4-on-3 power play advantage here. Nice opportunity for the Bears here for 1:05 going on 4-on-3 before it goes back to 5-on-4.
So the Bears will get a big chance here to go in front by 2 goals. And the White Bear power play on the season has been an impressive one. They are clicking thus far at 37%.
The big guns are on for White Bear with Jensen, Mosley, Gallatin, and Rowe. Only one missing out of that group is Schwartzbauer, who's in the penalty box. There you get a look at that last play. Penalty being called there.
The Pioneer penalty kill on the season is at 77.1%. They'll have their hands full with a good White Bear power play unit here that seems to be a good measuring stick for how well the Bears play that night. When the power play's on, they usually win. And Jensen buries this one on the doorstep. Cody wanted a whistle, but he doesn't get it. And Jensen has his 17th goal of the year on the power play. White Bear 2, Hill Murray nothing.
Jensen had several whacks on that. Not only did Cody look for the whistle, Steve Rollick as well. He's over conferring with the official at the bench right now, getting an explanation. The ruling, of course, had to have been that the puck was still loose, that he never had it covered. Jensen had a couple of whacks in it. Unfortunately for the Pioneers, there was no defenseman on that side to take him out. Take one more look at the play, and there you see Jensen on the right side of your screen. Watch as the puck comes over to him on the rebound. There you see the first whack at it, and here you see the second one, and that's the one that got into the net.
Tom Jensen, the leading scorer at this year's Civic Center tournament with 9 points. He had 6 goals on the weekend down there. Of course, highlighted by 5 in the 7th place game against Cretin-Durham Hall. Rickstad goes back of the net to pick it up for the Bears. We're still 4 onside. The coincidental minors will expire in 20 seconds. Rode and Gallatin get assists on the power play goal by Jensen that puts the Bears on top by 2. First periods have been a problem for the Pioneers this year. They have now been outscored 16-8 in the opening session. They've outscored their opponents 36-28 thereafter. Here's Jensen again, fires, and Cody with a glove save will get a face-off in the Pioneer zone. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey. 6:33 remaining in this first period.
You look at those period-by-period stats, this is almost predictable, Anthony, because the opposite holds true for the White Bear Lake team. They've outscored the opponents 25-15 in the first period, played it pretty even in the second, but that third period's killed them. That's where they've been outscored 25-14, and that's led to quite a few of the losses.
Beldy has it in the Pioneer zone. It's cleared to the line. Simonson fired it back in, but the Pioneers will carry out to center. Pass was behind Sam Pear. Will tips it ahead for Rose. Rose up the left wing, centers for Gallatin, and he fires it wide. Simonson from the point. Loose puck in the slot, and Will fanned on it. Wiesner clears to center. Here come the Pioneers. Sam Pear across the White Bear line. Nifty move to the slot, a backhand, and Wolde blocked that one. It comes to the near boards. Gallatin back through the neutral zone. He's sandwiched and pulled down by 2 Pioneer players. Will is there. Loose puck high in the slot, kept in by Peterson, who fires, and Will was there for the rebound, but he couldn't get a handle on it. Here's Gallatin in the slot, and Cody stops that one. The Bears flying here late first period, trying to add to a 2-0 lead.
Bears proving again that the best way to get good goaltending is to have the puck at the other end of the rink the whole time here. It hasn't been an issue because they've just been bombing away at Cody, and he's come up with some big saves here to keep it 2-0.
Face-off coming to the left of Cody as you watch this one again. That's a good goal scorer in Randy Gallatin as well. Blair pokes it to center. Hurley is hooked and pulled down by Rigstad. And it's going to be a Hill Murray power play at 9:37.
Well, if we can get one more look at that, you'll see a little bit of drama being added to that one. There may have been a hook on that one, but did quite a nice spin on it, and that helped draw that call. I think that's what the White Bear side is talking about, a little act on that one. Take one more look here. There you see the hook on the leg, and he sure twisted awful quick, didn't he?
Well, if that is all it takes to pull Brian Hurley down,
how does he have 10 goals?
I'm not exactly sure. Well, Hurley has been scoring goals in bunches lately, Tarmo. He had 5 last week, as you mentioned. He also had 2 down at the Civic Center. 7 goals in the Pioneers' last 5 games. And in fact, he hooked up with Tim Wolf and Brett Blair at a record-setting pace in that Irondale game. You see the numbers on the Hill Murray power play this season? 20%, 8 out of 40. Bears on the penalty kill are at 62%, as their opponents have cashed in on 19 of 50 power play chances. That's a number that would leave any coach concerned. Here's Brett Blair. Blair pokes it ahead, and a wrist shot is fired over the top of the net by Quinlan. Kruger keeps it in. Tried to dump it to the corner, but Gallatin intercepts and fires it all the way down. 1:16 remaining in the Pioneer power play. Wolf has it in his own zone, and he starts the break. Wolf through the neutral zone, slams it off the wall and into the White Bear zone. Gallatin back to pick up. Kept in by Samper. Samper to Quinlan in the corner. Quinlan tried to center. Samper has it, walks out front, and his backhand shot was blocked by New Olney. The Bears had a chance to go 3-on-1 shorthanded, but Schwartzbauer just dumped it in. Pioneers try and catch them on a line change. Quinlan at the White Bear line, flings one back of the net. Simonson has checked from behind and lost the puck. Rose is there to cover up. Graham with a rocket. That was tipped out front by Wiesner, and it's played with a high stick, which will bring the face-off all the way back down into the Pioneer zone. 3:52 remaining. First period, 29 seconds in the power play. Keith Ebensteiner is with us behind the White Bear net here in this first period. And Keith, what's the early mark on Dave New Olney?
Have to give him all good grades at this point. He's been there for he's been in good position, I should say, for every shot, and it's kind of been important that the Pioneers, their first couple shots came from out by the blue line. His defenseman did a good job of clearing his visibility. He had a good look at it. He's come up with the save so far. I've noticed a little habit, though, that we have from the new goaltender. As the Bears scored both goals, he'll skate over towards the Bear fans and tap on the glass, kind of saying, there's one, notch one up for us. See if you guys can catch that after the next goal.
Pioneers got a opportunity there on the side, at the side of the net, that New Olney coughed it up, but they couldn't cash in. Bears are back at full strength. Wiesner's hooked down by Rose, and this one's not called. Klossner through the neutral zone. Gets around Podomatic, cuts to the slot, fires, rebound, and what a big save by New Olney. He stopped Brian Hurley cold as he had a chance on the rebound.
Fortunately for New Olney, Hurley there was at a bad angle. He dove over and was able to cover it. He couldn't flip it up. Take one more look at it here. See the first save there on Klossner. The puck is loose, but he makes the dive. Hurley not really able to get much on that shot. It kind of dribbled towards the goaltender, but the important thing, as Keith was saying, was he was in position, was able to cover it up.
3:09 remaining. Face-off coming to his right. Rode has it. Rink wide backhand pass to Podominic, who then tries to do the same for O'Gary. Quinlan intercepts. Back to Samper. He was hooked from behind and lost the puck. Podominic at center. Podominic to the Pioneer line. Caught from behind. Centered it! And Kiefer rattles one off the post. We'll get a face-off in the Pioneer zone with 2:48 remaining. White Bear in front, 2-0. There's Brandon Samper, 6 points on the season. And as we mentioned, all 3 of those goals coming last week. And boy, could the Pioneers use him to turn it around offensively.
Well, they certainly could. They waited for a month for that to happen. He finally got the first couple, and we've seen some good flashes, and he's a good, strong player. He'll help you in other ways as well. It's going to be a good addition for the Pioneers, especially for the next couple of years as he matures a little bit more, becomes that much better of a player.
Here is Sam Perry. He's in alone, fires, and he shot it wide. And Rickstad tears the net free. Tarmo, a great play run by Steve Rollick. He only had 4 players out there for the faceoff and then jumped Sam Perry off the end of the bench.
It worked perfectly. He had Samper there. It wasn't the greatest pass in the world to him, but fortunately the puck was bouncing and went over the White Bear defense, and that gave Samper a chance to go right in. And you could see where he was going, up for the top corner, which he just missed. The opening was there, but he just missed it. Take another look at it and you'll see the shot just going high. Rickstad made sure there would be no rebound on that play. Here's one more look. Watch here. You see him go right up high. The glove was there, but the shot was wide anyway.
Would you say that Rickstad made an effort to avoid knocking the net loose?
First thing I did was look at the official to see if there would be a delay of game call, but it didn't happen.
Blair tried to fire. It hit a leg of a defenseman and comes out to center. Pioneers dump it back in with 2.5 minutes to go in the period. Rode goes behind his net, plays it up on the left wing. Schwartzbauer to the line. Tanabe keeps it in. He fires, and that was blocked. Comes to the point where Graham flips it out front. Wolf fires, save Newolny, rebound, and it's cleared out by Mosley. Jensen has it at center. Jensen crisscrossing with Mosley, fires, and escape save by Cody. Schwartzbauer couldn't keep it in. Back come the Pioneers at center. Blair up the left wing. Blair centers, Hurley tipped it wide. Back of the net, Peterson pokes it ahead for Jensen. Jensen wraps it off the end boards to Mosley. Mosley clears it to center. Hurley lost it in his skate, takes a big hit from Schwartzbauer. Pioneers fire it back in. Hurley grabs it, brings it in onside. Ahead for Wolf with 1.5 minutes to go. Wolf circles out to the point. Tanabe fires, and they score! It was tipped out front by Jeff Rose of the Bears. And Tanabe will take it as he has his first Hill Murray goal, and it comes with just 1:26 remaining.
Well, we talked about the fact that it hasn't just been goaltending that's been hurting White Bear defensively, and you've seen that last couple of minutes, some real good chances here for the Pioneers. Wolf just missing one early. Samper at the breakaway. This time it's just a good long shot, and as you get in hockey, time after time, you'll hear if you fire often enough, something's going to happen. Even if it goes in off another stick, that's what happened here. Take another look at the point. You'll at the point shot here, and you'll see Rose just come into your screen. There he is, and he hits it with the shaft of his stick and deflects it past his goalie.
Tanabe from Samper, the goal for the Pioneers. And they are right back in this. It is now a 2-1 game in the closing minutes of this opening period. Keith is down behind the White Bear net. Keith, you had to get a perfect look at the tip by Jeff Rose.
I was close enough. I could see the expression on Newolny's face. He was in total disbelief that the puck ended up behind him. Actually, after it hit Rose, it looked as though it tipped off of him. He very nearly came up with the save, but he was already looking towards the corner. It's pretty tough to be prepared for a shot that you expect to go way wide, suddenly deflected out front and ends up behind him.
And that's the first goal that Newolny allows in his varsity career. Pioneers are onside at the line. Klossner for Quinlan, back to Klossner in the corner. He avoids a check, lost the puck. Rose starts back. We're inside a minute to play. Will has it, taps it ahead for Rose. Rose into the Pioneer zone, centered it, and Gallatin fanned on it in the slot. Back comes Kruger. Slides it over for Klossner. Klossner fell, tried to drop it to Quinlan anyway, and Rode picks up the loose puck for the Bears. Rode turned it over behind his net. Quinlan centers. Klossner was tied up out front by Gallatin. Back come the Bears. Will has Rose and Rode with him, but Rose coughs it up. Comes to the line, kept in there by Gallatin. Will circles the net, still looking, and now a whistle as the net has come loose. We'll get a face-off in the Pioneer zone with 11 seconds remaining. Fans, stay with us during our upcoming first intermission. We'll hear from Hill Murray head coach Steve Rolick, and we'll also take a look at this rivalry from a different perspective, from behind the bench. Mike Schwartz, head coach of the Bears, and younger brother Dave, an assistant. On the Hill Murray side, you see Dave standing just beyond Steve Rolick. We'll hear from each of them and their version of the rivalry and the way it affects, as they call it, Thanksgiving dinners around the Schwartz household. This one's dumped out to center and will bring us to the end of the first period. 15 minutes in the books, and this was everything that we built it to be. Excellent hockey. The Bears in front 2-1 after one. Stay with us. Our first intermission is coming up next. This is Prep Hockey 95 on KABL. Welcome back to Aldrich Arena, our first intermission show. The Bears in front of the Pioneers 2-1 after one, but I think the Pioneers are encouraged as they head to the locker room. Keith Ebensteiner is with head coach Steve Rolick. Take it away, Keith.
Coach, you find yourself in somewhat a familiar situation for this season. You've outscored your opponent through the second and third period the majority of the games. You've struggled a bit in the first period. Any explanation?
No, I don't know what it is. I think the kids are ready. Maybe sometimes they're a little too over pumped up, and we gave up a power play goal. We just can't afford to get in the box. I mean, White Bear's a great team. They got a lot of talent. You don't want to get yourself caught down a man.
And when there's a rivalry as intense as this, there must be special attention paid to the fact that you can't afford to play shorthanded.
White Bear Hill Murray, it speaks for itself. I mean, throw out everything else. Throw out the crowd, throw out the records. I mean, these two teams come to play, and they battle each other, and we're probably going to battle each other 3 times this year, so it's nothing different every time we see them.
You've had the luxury of 2 very consistent goaltenders all season long. Coach Schwartz has kind of the opposite. He's trying a new goaltender in Dave Niewolny. Any special effort played or game plan when a goalie is playing in his first varsity game?
Well, it could go both ways. I mean, you want to go down there and test him early. He might have the jitters, but, he played well. I don't know what the shots were, if we had 10 shots or what, but he came up with some good saves, but really we had a lot of far out shots and from out far, and we want to get in tight and give them some good, tough shots.
Coach, what are the Pioneers going to have to do to turn things around in the second and third period?
Well, we just got to keep working. We got to outwork them. That's the bottom line. Anytime you win a hockey game, you got to outwork the other team.
Thanks a lot, Coach. We'll let you back to your players.
Thanks.
Back to you, Anthony Tarmo.
All right, thanks, Keith. I think in a nutshell, Tarmo, that is the key for the Pioneers every period this season.
It really is, and that's what you always hear Steve say. He wants his team to work and then work harder and harder, and obviously it's a very successful theory because he's had a pretty good winning percentage.
We're going to take a look at this rivalry from a bit of a unique perspective, and that's from the family side. Here's what the Schwartzes have to say about the Bears and the Pioneers.
Dave lives now 5 houses from me, so we talk quite a bit, and it's just different when you walk off the ice. You kind of almost want to say, you want to come with us for the next one, type thing.
Joke about it, and we're serious at times, and I mean, if you watch closely, sometimes you could see us kind of holler or scream at each other a little bit about things that are going on during the game. But afterwards, a lot of times we get together after the game and talk about it and laugh about it and some of the stuff that went on. And little story about last year's one. After the game, we kind of talked and wished him luck and in the state tournament things, and he said, He goes, after we scored the overtime goal, he goes, I wanted to run out on the ice, but I looked over at you guys, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that. And I'm like, he's my brother, he'll understand. It's my first time downtown. So, you know, yeah.
You know, time traveled so slowly during that period, and when you watch it and you see it a normal play, it looks like I just instantaneously reacted and did some things. But you know, for a split second there, it seemed like eternity. And so the first thing I did is I kind of, at least I thought I did, I thought I looked over at Dave and said, well, gee, I don't want him to think I'm rubbing it in his face by going out there. And I says, you know, I think he'd understand, and he did, and so it works out okay. But it was a lot of fun, and you know, last year it was our year, and we don't know what the future is going to bring, and when that time comes, we'll just see what happens.
It's really only a game, you know, and if I guess if I had to lose to anyone, I'd like to see you stay in the family. So that's one nice thing, but you always want to win, and we both have that competitive spirit that we each want to win, but if you do lose, you got to respect the other one.
I think with David being there as the assistant, it wasn't so bad as if he would have been a head coach, because then you're more head-to-head, where the pressure got alleviated because it was more me versus Steve rather than me versus my brother. But having David there, you know, in other times, and you walk off the ice and you got to shake the hand. Yeah, you know you lost, but you really don't feel so bad because you know, there's some family there, and you know that he got to go on, and I think we have that general respect for each other in that respect. You know, hey, okay, we didn't make it, but I'm glad it was you rather than somebody else.
Sometimes, but not usually. I mean, you might get some tense times, you know. I mean, we didn't talk too much. I didn't really want to talk about the 6-2 loss last year, and he kind of wanted to talk about it. He was real proud of his kids, and they did a good job. You know, we didn't play so well that game, and then, you know, the 2-1 overtime loss in the section final. Again, you're kind of upset with it for your own players, and you see so many kids move on and didn't have that chance to go to the state tournament that year. And so there is a little bit of grinding, but like I said, you try to be mature about it and say, hey, you know, that's the way it goes. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose.
You catch yourself when you're talking casually sometimes that, well, I do this, and then it's like, oops, I can't say that. But you can definitely, we always talk about other teams in our conference, and we kind of help each other so that we both want to be there in the end, you know, and so we'll help each other with other opponents, and we hopefully think that the conference will come down to our games. You know, we like to think that. But, you know, aside from when we're on our own, I mean, we'll talk a lot about his players, about my players, about what his team does, what my team does, more his team than mine, or vice versa if he's doing the talking. And, you know, we actually do help each other out a lot. Well, this isn't the first time that it's happened. When I used to coach at Johnson, my brother Bobby was the assistant at Hill, and so they were in the city conference then, and so we had to play them all the time. And ran into the same problems, but with Bobby and I were closer in age, and we were always very competitive, so Bobby and I never talked that much when we played against each other. And with David, it was the age difference is bigger, and so it was more still like my younger brother. I was taking care of him, where Bobby and I look at we're more equals, and so it was like, well, you can't go talk to him because, you know, you just had to stay away a little bit. It's real interesting around the house, though, like for my mom used to have a shirt that had Johnson Govey on one side and Hill Murray Pioneer on the other, and it said hockey coach's mom, and with the two different sides. And you know, she runs into the same situations now with being at White Bear and David being at Hill. But it's still tough, I think, on Bobby the most. Out of all three of us, I think it's hardest on Bobby, and he's out of it. And I think he misses it as much as he won't admit it. But I still think it's hard on him when he sees David and I going at it in games, and he's not involved anymore. He's kind of out of the loop. But, you know, he still gives, the thing that's nice is now he can give both of us advice.
It makes for interesting Thanksgiving dinners, sitting around, especially when hockey starts. Bob's been out of it now, so he's kind of neutral. He kind of ends up on the phone with both of us, Mike one day, myself the other, or maybe both the same day, and just find out what's going on with the team, so who's doing what. You know, he's kind of knows some of the kids from odds and ends in the past, hockey camps or whatever it might have been. And so that's where it gets involved. I think my mom sometimes has a hard time kind of trying to root for whoever, and people get on her probably more than they get on us, because if she sits on one side, then other people aren't happy, and some are happy if she sits on the other side, vice versa. So, you know, it's probably the parents that have had the hardest time. They got to figure out, try to find somewhere in the middle to sit. But for the brothers, we haven't really had a tough time with it, I think. You know, it's you go with what happens, and you got to accept that, and you do the best you can, and you try to teach your kids, you know, about hockey and about life, and hope that they learn something while you're teaching them.
In the first period tonight, it was the Bears striking first. On the rebound off the shot from Mark Will, watch Jared Rigstad as he pounces on the loose puck and buries it. His third of the year, and the Bears were in front 1-0. Just about 3 minutes later, the man with the nose for the net, Tom Jensen. He'll find the loose puck. He's on the far side of the Pioneer crease, and he outworks Bill Cody for the goal for the Bears, and they go in front 2-0. But in the closing 2 minutes, the Pioneers came back to life. This team is loaded with young talent, and it's freshman defenseman David Tanabe, the rocket from the point, that gets tipped out front by Jeff Rose, and it goes past Dave Newolny in the White Bear nets to give the Pioneers their first goal of the night and bring them back. It's 2-1 Bears at the end of one. Welcome back to Aldrich Arena. We're just about set to get started here, second period, with Tarmo Kubitz and Keith Ebensteiner. I'm Anthony LaPanta. Let's go down to Keith real quickly. Keith, the big story tonight, Dave Newolny, and he had an outstanding first period.
He did an outstanding job in the first period. Got a lot of good shots, easy shots, somewhat easy anyhow. He had a good look at them. As long as you have a good look at him, you're going to come up with a lot of saves. We'll have to see how he responds to giving up the one goal. We're going to call it a soft goal because he was expecting it to go wide right of him, deflects off one of his defensemen's back, Jeff Rose, and trickles into the net. So it was a goal that he wasn't really ready for, had nothing to do in, and let's see how he bounces back from giving up that first varsity goal.
We are underway, second period. Puck in the White Bear zone. Pete Rode throws it out to center, and Jensen pulls Scribner down. He will go, and the Pioneers go on the power play just 23 seconds in.
Well, you heard Steve Rollick talk about the fact that he didn't want to take too many penalties. You know, Mike Schwartz will say the same thing against this Hill Murray team. That one right in front of the bench there. Jensen obviously coming out fired out here for the second period, fired up rather. And fortunately for White Bear, we expected a call against just Jensen, but it is 2 penalties. Both teams will be short a man.
And Tarmo, what happened was the official on the far side of the rink called the second holding penalty against Zach Scribner of the Pioneers, and that's a break for the Bears because that probably, in all reality, should have been a Hill Murray power play. So we'll play 4 aside. Rode at center. Flips it over for Rigstad. Too far. Wolf plays it back in for the Pioneers. Rigstad back to pick it up. Dumps it to Rode in his own zone. Long pass springs Mosley. Mosley up the left wing. Ridden out by Spears. Maher back of his net. Tries to walk out front, and Mosley tied him up. Wolf comes away with a loose puck for the Pioneers. Wolf at center. Into the Bears zone. He's tied up from behind and lost the puck. Spears comes back to center. Rode splits 2 defenders, and he's stopped by Bill Cody. Face-off coming in the Pioneer zone. What a tremendous job by Wild Bill Cody in the Pioneer net.
I'm sure Steve Rollick wondering where that opening came from. Shane Spears, Shane Maher, both back on defense. Both had Pete Rode there, and he just managed to fight through both of them. There you see another look at it. And Cody coming up with a save as Rode went to the backhand, tried to poke it under the goaltender, and Cody reacted quickly.
Face off to his right. Just about a minute into the second period. 1:05 in the Coincidental Miners. Tanabe up the left wing. Backhand shot on goal. Newolny stopped it and gave up a rebound, but the bin goes to the corner. Graham rides him off, but Gallatin's there. Gallatin with it behind the net. Tanabe broke his stick trying to break the puck free, and Graham comes away with it. Graham plays to center for Brett Blair. Blair on the left wing for Maurer, and Blair drifted in offside. We'll get a face-off in the neutral zone. 13:11 to go, second period, and there are the remains of freshman superstar Dave Tanabe.
Saw him involved in a big collision there in the corner, and I think one of the other things impressive about Tanabe is he's got pretty good size for a freshman as well. Big, strong kid who's only going to be stronger here over the next couple of years. I think it's really amazing for this Hill Murray team when you just kind of take it for granted after you see them for a couple times that you've got freshmen here, but to have a quality team. Take one more look at that collision there, and more of a slash than a collision, shall we say?
Fair assessment of the play. Behind the net, Klausner. There's a collision as Rigstad wipes him out, and the Bears are 3-on-3 at center. Mosley across the Pioneer line. Mosley through the circle, cuts out front, and Cody got a pad on it. Schwartzbauer tries to kick it to the point for Rigstad. Samper comes away with the puck, plays it ahead for Wiesner. Wiesner got it caught in his skates, dumps it back to Quentin Kruger. Kruger through the neutral zone to the White Bear line, fakes the shot, still with it. Now he fires and hits the side of the goal. Both teams are back at full strength. We're 5 aside with 12.5 to go, second period. Laszlo digs it free for the Pioneers, has it taken away by Rigstad. Rigstad circles his net, tried to play it ahead for Schwartzbauer. Samper overskated it. Rode pokes it ahead for Jensen. Kruger back to cover up. Schwartzbauer centers and a goal! Chris Mosley tips it in out front. And the Bears are in front by 2. It's 3-1.
Mosley was being held in check out in front, but the one thing you have to do when you do that is make sure the player doesn't have his stick. That time Mosley was just able to get enough stick. What a great play. It all started in the other end. Hill Murray with some real aggressive forechecking, pinched everybody in deep, and that gave White Bear the odd man rush coming back the other way. Take one more look. There you see the centering pass, and even though he's being taken down, Mosley just concentrating, keeps his eye on the puck, deflects it in, and makes it a 3-1 game.
Schwartzbauer makes the pass. The play that I felt made it, Tarmo, was the diving play by Pete Rode just across the blue line to tip the puck away from Quentin Kruger. Gallatin pokes this one to the corner. Rode and Schwartzbauer get assists on the goal by Mosley, his 6th of the year. Rose centers. A shot right on, rebound, they score! And the Bears lead it 4-1. Andy Will's 6th goal of the year.
You saw Will take a big hit there. That hit's going to draw a penalty. Andy Will open out in front as White Bear came storming the net. We talked about Hill Murray expecting to see them storm the goaltender for White Bear Lake. Instead, it's going the other way here. And there again, a wide open net. Will able to push it in, takes a big hit. There you see it there by number 15, Shane Spears. I'm sure it's going to be a cross-check or a checking from behind there. So not only a goal here for the Bears and a 3-goal lead, but they could be going on the power play as well.
Rose and Gallatin get assists on the goal for the Bears. That turned this into a 3-goal game, and Steve Rollick trying to pump his troops up a little bit. The minor penalty goes against Shane Spears. It is a roughing minor at 3:21. And a big opportunity here for the Bears to break this one open. Steve Rollick wants an explanation from an official. Keith, you had to have a good look at the skirmish down in the Hill Murray crease area. How did it look to you?
Skirmish, and that's an understatement. That's exactly, Will got a good shot off. Cody was there with the first answer. He got the save. Puck was laying around. He couldn't see the puck to cover up and draw the whistle. Will stayed right out front of the net, and the puck just happened to bounce over his way, and he was there to put it away, but he got absolutely flattened as the puck went in the back of the net.
I think he'll take the punishment when the reward is a 4-1 lead for the Bears. Pioneers slam this one in as the Bears go on the power play for the 2nd time tonight. They cashed in the first time on a power play goal by Tom Jensen. Pioneers getting aggressive. Laszlo behind the net, centers, and Klausner was there but couldn't get a stick on it. Back come the Bears. Mosley at center. 1.5 on the power play. Mosley, and they're offside as Schwartzbauer drifted in ahead of the play. Face off in the neutral zone with 11:11 remaining, second period. 1:32 in the power play for White Bear Lake.
But you can certainly see the message was sent out by Steve Rollick here that he wanted an aggressive penalty kill. And you saw it for the first part, the first 28 seconds here. A lot of hitting by Jared Laszlo down at the other end, and almost a good scoring opportunity out in front. Keep in mind, this Hill Murray team came up with 2 shorthanded goals to break open that close game against Mounds View the other night.
And they have scored 3 already this season, Tarmo. The Bears have had a penchant for giving up shorthanded goals the last couple of seasons, and in fact have never won a game during Mike Schwartz's tenure in which they allowed a shorthanded goal. They've given up 5 of them already this year. Mosley into the Hill Murray zone with a minute to go in the power play. Dumps it to the corner where Gallatin chases it down. Plays it back of the net. Centering pass, got away from Jensen, comes out to Mosley. Mosley has it poked away by Hurley, and the Bears are very fortunate that he was called offside. Face-off coming with 48 seconds to go in the power play.
What a bad break there for the Pioneers as Hurley poked the puck outside the line. Because it was pushed back in, the offside play was called, even though he regained it and pushed it back out. Would have had a breakaway going the other way. Pioneers continuing to be aggressive here in the penalty kill with 48 seconds left.
When you talk about this rivalry in the series, you talk about a series dominated by the Pioneers. They've won 24 of the previous 33 meetings, but the last 2 have gone to the Bears, and this one has been dominated by the Bears. And if you look at just those last 2.5 games, they've outscored the Pioneers 12-4. Rose is pinched off the puck by Maher behind the net. Simonson was there. Now Kiefer throws a check, and we'll get a whistle. Face-off coming in the Pioneer zone. It'll come to the left of Bill Cody with 22 seconds remaining in the White Bear power play.
Hill Murray doing what they need to on this kill here, trying to get out of this and keep it at a 3-goal deficit. Keep in mind the numbers we talked about earlier, how Hill Murray seems to turn it on in the second, third periods and White Bear seems to fade. Pioneers certainly not out of this one yet.
Here's Rigstad with a shot. That got by Cody, comes all the way through to the point. Peterson fires it back into the zone. Rose spins along the far boards. Rose plays it out to the point. Bears power play expires. Pioneers are back at full strength as Spears returns to the action. Wiesner ahead for Laszlo, who fires it in. 9.5 minutes to go, second period. We are back to 5 aside. The Bears in front, 4-1. They're 2-on-1 at center, but Wiesner jumps up into the play to break it up. Maher in the neutral zone, try to dump it back. Rose intercepts. Rose works 1-on-1 with Kruger, cuts out front, and Cody stopped him. Rebound is dribbled wide by Kiefer. Back come the Pioneers. Blair at center. Blair cuts right in, fires, and it got by Newolny but went wide. Bears control as we go end to end. Rode up the left wing. Flies by the defenseman, cuts in front. Cody got a skate on it. Pete Rode has to be wondering how Bill Cody keeps that puck out of the net. Mosley keeps it in at the near point. He takes a check from Scribner. Pioneers clear to center. Hurley overskated it. Blair tried to fire it in. It got caught in the pads of Hurley, and we'll get a face-off in the neutral zone. 8:29 to go, and the action getting fast and furious.
I suppose you want to catch your breath for a minute now, huh?
Wouldn't mind.
Great chances at both ends. Take a look at this chance here for White Bear as you see Peter Rode. Once he gets some open ice and gets some speed going, he's so tough to beat. Walked right around the defense, went to the backhand, and there you see the right skate to the goaltender Cody. A lot of bodies there, but nobody able to put it away.
That's a tough save by Cody because his body is going to his left, anticipating the move by Rode, but good presence to keep that back leg there and make that save.
Turned it just in time to face the shot.
Bears clear to center. Will gobbles it up and races to the Pioneer line. Bumped off the puck by Graham. The bodies are flying as well. Rose comes to the near boards. Has it taken away by Tanabe. Tanabe goes back into his own zone. Circles the net. Plays it up on the left wing. Aaron clearing pass intercepted by Will, but Tanabe covers up. Tanabe up the right wing. Works by Peterson, centers it, and a good chance, but the Pioneers weren't able to cash in. Samper pinching in for the point. He'll keep it alive. Into the corner they go. Maurer circles the net, centers, loose puck, and a backhand rolls just wide. Smothers has had 2 good chances on this shift. No icing. Graham goes back to pick up for Hill Murray. Long pass through the neutral zone. Samper has it. Samper into the circle, centers, and another skate save by Newolny. O'Gary back across the red line, gets it for Rode, a shot. Cody stopped it. Loose puck in the slot as the Bears give their 4th liners a chance. Rode still with it, circling. Plays it over on the left side. Guerin with it, back to Rigstad. Fan taken away by Samper. And now Maurer has it. Nate Mauer's in alone, centers, they score! Rob Quinlan with the finish. And the Pioneers are back within 2 at 8-10.
What a strange play that was, as Maurer overskated the puck to start with. He had a clean breakaway going, overskated it, and fortunately for him, it went off of another stick or skate and came back to him. He didn't even see it at first, then he took off. And how about that pass? A lot of players will really bear down, stare at the goaltender, but he saw his man coming up there. Perfect pass, good play there for the Pioneers.
Watch it again. This is the finish. The bizarre play occurred back in the neutral zone, and Maurer almost headed to the bench on a line change. The goal is Quinlan's. Maurer and Samper get assists for Hill Murray. And it is now a 4-2 game late in this second period. Scribner goes back in his own zone, taps it for Kruger. Quinlan leads the break out of his zone. Klossner deflected it at center. Newolny lost control of it. Klossner has it, dumps it back in the net. Quinlan. Pioneers are flying as they sense a chance to get back within 1. Laszlo has it, rolled it out front, but Simonson was there. And the Bears break back the other way. His pass too far for Mosley, icing against the Bears. Faceoff comes back in their zone with 6:01 to play second period. White Bear 4, Hill Murray 2.
Another good shift there for the Pioneers. Laszlo trying to get that puck in front, just couldn't get enough on it. Simonson was able to pick it off. Anthony just looked for a couple of real busy goaltenders here. From here on out, you could see that Hill Murray is really pinching. They've been doing it all period, coming up and giving White Bear all kinds of odd man rushes going the other way. So Cody's going to have to come up big, but so is Newolny in the White Bear net, and he's had an outstanding game.
But you can see that both teams' forwards have been able to exploit the other's defensemen nearly at will. Pioneers tap at the center. Rigstad is there. He coughed it up. Tapped ahead by Maher. Maher plays it into the Bear zone. Rigstad back to cover up. Rigstad to the line. It's intercepted by Wiesner, but Gallatin covers up. Gallatin pokes it to center. Maher back for Hill Murray. Up on the left wing for Blair. Blair takes a check from Rode. It goes to the corner. Loose puck. Wolf throws it in the slot. Nobody home. Tanabe fires wide. And the live carom rolled right through the crease, but nobody there for Hill Murray. Maher into the White Bear zone. Gets by Rigstad. Gets by another man. Loose puck. Blair fires. Save Newolny. Rebound comes loose. Wolf has it. Wolf waits, circles, still with it. Comes out front and fires, and Newolny stopped that one. Tim Wolf thought he had a goal. And with just under 5 minutes to go, the Bears are on the ropes despite the fact that they lead by 2.
And they are working hard for Coach Steve Rawlik, aren't they? They are just buzzing. They're aggressive, forechecking there. White Bear a little bit on their heels right now, standing around a little bit in the defensive zone. Take another look at that last chance. This is the one that Blair had earlier when he had a good shot and the save was made. Good play all around. Give some credit on that last sequence to Tanabe. The puck that came out to the point, he wound up for a blast. If he'd have shot it right towards the net, that would have deflected and gone out to center ice. He had the presence of mind to shoot it wide of the goal. Even though it was wide, he knew it wouldn't be deflected back behind him.
Into the corner, Sam Pear is thrown into the boards by Kiefer. Big check thrown by Maurer, but the Bears still result in a 3-on-2. Guerin up the left wing, stops, centers, and Kiefer was tied up out front by Sam Pear. Sam Pear plays it off the boards to Smothers. Maurer hits Sam Pear in stride at center. Sam Pear cuts out front and he scores! Brandon Sam Pear's third point of the night, his fourth goal of the year. And the Pioneers have climbed back within one at 10:43.
And we talked about what Sam Pear could do, and now that he's finally broken out, and there you saw the big play, because you saw him go in one-on-one that time, play it right through the White Bear defenseman, go in, take one more look, there you see him go, cut to his backhand, and score. Here's another shot at it here. Watch as he goes in. He's going in on Matt Peterson. Peterson goes to the left, Sam Pear shifts back to the right, tucks it back to the forehand. Nice play, nice hands there, stick handling by Sam Pear.
Tremendous move to get by Peterson. We have just over 4 minutes to go. Sam Pear from Maurer, and it is a one-goal game at 4-3. Wow, and it looked like White Bear was on their way to putting this one away when they took that 4-1 lead and then had a power play chance.
Give an awful lot of credit for this comeback here to number 21, Bill Cody. There was some good chances there to make this a 5-1, 6-1 game. Came up with a couple of big saves there. Came up big on Peter Rowe. That kept his team in it until finally the offense got on track.
Scribner hustles back, or else Schwartzbauer and Jensen would have been in 2-on-0. Scribner has it in the corner. Plays it off the board. Schwartzbauer intercepts. Schwartzbauer fires, and Cody stopped it. If he lets any kind of a rebound hit the ice there, Tom Jensen has his 18th of the year.
Which is just how Jensen got his 17th of the year, and I'm sure Cody and the Pioneers are aware of that. Jensen does well hanging around the net. Here you see him take that shot. Going up high, there was a little bit of room there on the short side. That's what he tried to go for, and there was Jensen all alone. He had broken free from the White Bear defense and was there all alone for a rebound.
Pioneers trying to win their 4th straight game. The Bears trying to avoid their 3rd straight loss and an 0-2 Twin Cities Suburban start. Hurley pokes it ahead. Wolf hustles against Pete Rode. Rode slams him into the end boards. Rigstad has it taken away by Hurley. Hurley stops along the near boards, dumps it back in the net for Wolf. Wolf in the corner, throws it behind the goal. Blair ties up with Jensen. Rigstad comes away with it. Wiesner fires, and Schwartzbauer got a stick on it. Maher fights to keep it in. Bears will carry out of the zone, or will they? It's offside, as the official says that Blair had not left the zone, yet both skates were outside the blue line.
Skates were outside the blue line. His stick was inside the blue line. I think they're saying that the I don't know what they're saying. I'm trying to help.
I was waiting for the explanation of that one. Keith, can you help us out? Tarmo's starting to call sticks offside.
Tarmo's all on his own on that one.
Watch it again. Now watch 28 for the Pioneers. He's off to the right of your screen. You won't be able to see it there. But both legs were outside the blue line, and somehow he's called in. There, you can see it right there. Both feet outside the line. And then he comes back in to play the puck. Will has it tipped and broken up by Tanabe. We'll get a face-off with 2:51 remaining, 2nd period. Stay with us during our upcoming 2nd intermission. We'll hear from White Bear head coach Mike Schwartz. And we'll also be joined by another very special guest, Tarmo, as we'll take another look at this family angle of the rivalry with yet another Schwartz.
Well, we're making it Schwartz tonight here at Aldrich Arena. The only guy left out of that was Bob Schwartz. You heard Mike talking about him there during the first period intermission. So we're going to go one better here, only we'll have Bob live here. He's at the arena taking in this game, and we'll ask him who he's cheering for here and ask him how much he taught the other two brothers.
Rose pokes it ahead. Will crosses the goal line. He's tied up by Tanabe. spins in the corner. Sam Pear's there to grab the loose puck. Plays it around behind. It's too far for Graham, but Maurer has it. Dumps it out at center for Smothers. Now Sam Pear into the White Bear zone. Stops. He's already made Peterson look silly once tonight. This time, Peterson spins him to the outside, and Sam Pear turns it over. Rose pokes it ahead for Will. Will couldn't get a shot away. Graham did a nice job sprawling to break it up. Pioneers control at center. Long pass for Laszlo, but Rode was back defensively. Rigstad to Jensen. Pioneers intercept. Rhodes back to cover up. Now Rigstad has it. He dumps it in. Inside, 2 minutes to go as Graham plays it behind the net for Tanabe. Around to the near side boards. Laszlo has it there. Laszlo's pass too far at center for Klossner, and Rode dumps it back into the Pioneer zone. Mosley turns it over. Now Jensen covers up. His shot was deflected, and it's up and out of play. We'll get a face-off in the Pioneer zone with 1:23 remaining in this second period.
The Bears have settled down here a little bit in the last couple of minutes, and play has evened out a little, and I think it just sets up what should be an outstanding third period here. One goal game that could go either way, and I think the hitting will certainly continue here as we head to the third period. You can tell teams are really getting kind of tired here in the last 2 minutes of what's been a pretty intense period.
Intense, I think, is an understatement, Tarmo. This has been a wild, emotional second period. Quinlan plays it to center. Klossner couldn't come up with it. Rode has it. Now Rigstad dumps it out to center. Gallatin tipped it. Bears dump it into the zone, but Scribner's there to cover up. A near turnover. Kruger finally pokes it through the neutral zone. Both teams just trying to get to the locker room without any damage here. 40 seconds to go. Hurley keeps it in at the point. It goes behind the net. Rode is there for White Bear. He'll fire it all the way down. Icing against the Bears. 31 seconds to play. And we'll get a face-off. This is a very dangerous time for a face-off in your defensive zone when your forwards and defensemen alike are starting to tire out, as you mentioned here, in the late stages of a period.
Well, and I think I have to correct what you're saying. I think the Pioneers want to do a little damage here in these closing seconds. You can tell they've pumped it up for one last shot, a couple of big hits again on that last sequence as they go for the tying goal right now.
Wiesner's shot was tipped out front by Hurley, but it went wide. Bears clear to center. Maher pokes it in. Bears intercept, and Will carries to center. Will hits the Pioneer line with 15 seconds to go. Dumps it back for Rose, taken away by Wolf. And here's Brett Blair at center. Blair for Wolf on the left wing, cuts to the slot, fired, and it went just wide. Rebound in the corner, controlled by Simonson, and the buzzer sounds. One more hit from Brett Blair for good measure. 15 minutes of hockey remaining. Don't go away. Our second intermission is coming up next. This is Prep Hockey 95 on KABL. Welcome back to Aldrich Arena. Bears 4, Pioneers 3 at the end of 2. We have got 15 minutes of excitement left ahead of us, maybe 23 minutes. Right now, Keith is with who has to be a drained White Bear head coach, Mike Schwartz. Take it away, Keith.
Coach, coming into tonight's game, you're playing a new goaltender, Dave Newolny. We've been impressed so far through 2 periods. How would you assess his play?
Oh, he's done a good job. You know, the first shot he didn't have a prayer on. The second one was a great play at 2-on-1, and the last one was semi-breakaway. So we've only given him 2 real good scoring chances, but they got 3, and they've done a nice job, and we haven't capitalized on the good chances that we've had.
He hasn't looked nervous at all, hasn't made any young, immature mistakes that you would sometimes expect, or I guess you would fear as a coach, starting him in a big game in a rivalry like this.
Well, you know, he wants to play. And when you want to play, you know what's expected of you, and you got to get the job done, and I think he's been up to the task so far.
Coach, you head in the locker room with clinging to a 1-goal lead with only 1 period left, the famous Bear period. The Bears have struggled a little bit this period. What are you going to have to do this game in particular against the Pioneers to hold on to that lead?
Well, we just can't. We really don't have to change anything we're doing. We just need to put a little more heart and gut into our last period. And you know, they're going to come at you hard. You know, they're a little hungry, young, enthusiastic team, and they're going to throw everything they got at us this last period. We got to be up to the task to handle it and have some poise and make the right passes that we need to do to come out of this.
And it looked as though Coach Rawlik changed the game plan about halfway through after you did acquire the 4-1 lead. They really opened up play, were very aggressive in the offensive zone, and it provided some good scoring opportunities for the Bears as well.
Well, and that's what you're going to see. And they're, you know, whenever they go that aggressive, that means they got to bring a D up. So that's going to give us somebody a little bit longer. So if we can just have that poise, like I say, to hold the puck just a little bit longer and spring that long guy, we'll be okay.
Hill Murray's been known for their defensemen. They're skating 3 freshman defensemen. Any special attention paid towards them?
Not really. We look at this, it's a Hill Murray White Bear game. It don't matter who's on the ice, it's always going to be intense. And so we're not trying to pick on anybody or any one thing. We just want to play our game and go after them and see if we can't come out on top.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck in the third period.
You betcha. Thanks, Keith.
Back to you, Anthony.
All right, thanks, Keith. At the end of 2, the Bears are in front 4-3, and as Mike Schwartz says, he says you have to be concerned anytime that you throw a young goaltender in there. But as he also mentions, what's coming up is a very critical 15 minutes for the Bears, because they have lost 9 of 11 Bear periods this season. They've outscored their opponents in only 2 of their first 11 games in that third period. They're going to have to do it, or at least hold serve here tonight, or they're going to be talking about another one that got away early this season. As we told you, we are going to continue our look at this Hill Murray rivalry through the eyes of coaches, and in this case, a former coach. Tarmo Kubitz is with former Hill Murray head coach Bob Schwartz. Tarmo, yet another Schwartz who knows a little bit about Pioneer Bear hockey.
Thanks a lot, Anthony. Welcome back to Schwartz Arena here tonight as we've got them all over the ice. Interesting segment we had talking to your 2 brothers there at first intermission, who didn't have too much good to say about you, but it's been quite a rivalry for you guys over the year. First of all, let's talk about this game and your thoughts on these first 2 periods.
Well, this is the first game I've been to this year, high school or any for that matter, and so I'm just kind of sitting back and trying to enjoy the action. I obviously a little bit weak on defense on both sides there, or I shouldn't say weak, but having a little trouble getting organized defensively, and you get a few quick goals in there, but it's exciting, I'll say that much, and right now that's all I'm worried about right now. Come out and get a little enjoyment out of watching.
And as always with White Bear and Hill Murray, what we talk about, the intensity is always here as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, you can look at both teams. You probably would say both of them started off with a pretty slow, or kind of a poor record to start out here this year, a slow start. But, you know, when it comes to Hill playing White Bear, doesn't matter how good either team has been doing, when it comes for those 2 teams to play, you know they're going to come ready to play.
Well, we had a chance to talk to Dave and Mike earlier, going back to some of their battles here in recent years with teams playing against each other. Of course, you guys go back to the St. Paul Conference before, back when you were coaching, assistant coach with Hill Murray. Mike Schwartz was over with Johnson. How did you guys handle that rivalry from your standpoint?
We just both kind of did our job, you know, and tried to prepare our guys for the games and whatever, and neither one of us gets into any we don't get into any arguments or disagreements off ice anyway. So I mean, there's really not much to it, you know. It adds a little extra flair, I guess, for some of the people that know, you know, we're brothers and whatnot. But as far as preparing for the game, things like that, it's really no different at all. You know they're pretty prepared, and so you know you have to be too.
Aren't any long-standing arguments about who's taught something to somebody else?
Actually, we kind of share a lot of things, and we usually don't share things right before we play each other. And but we do share a lot of different ideas and whatnot, and you know, like off ice and off-season training and things like that, and kind of help each other out a little bit. It's kind of fun.
Kind of make it. Mike was talking about the fact that it kind of made it easier when you're playing head-to-head like that. Made it easier to lose if you're seeing your brother go ahead and maybe go to the next step, say in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's always hard to lose, and it's hard for, you know, you feel so bad for the kids because, you know, they pour their hearts into the game. And I guess the coaches do to a certain extent too, but usually it's a little bit easier for the coaches to deal with it than the kids, but yeah, it's nice to know that if you can't go, the other one can.
The other thing that Mike talked about is the fact that you two are closer in age, so maybe there was a little bit more of a rivalry between you guys than with your kid brother Dave that you're a little bit more protective of.
Yeah, well, Dave has always kind of hidden the shadows a little bit. He's always been a real good guy to have around, very dedicated coach and whatnot. But of course, he's been an assistant. He hasn't had to be the person kind of out in the front. And actually, it's kind of nicer back there because you can coach. You don't have to worry about some of the other things that head coaches have to worry about, some of the scheduling conflicts, things like that. And you can kind of gear yourself more to just coaching of the kids and whatnot. But I like all aspects of it. When I was assistant coach, I love that part of it, and I really like being a head coach too. So it's a real fun experience.
Looking back now, we had a chance a few years ago to see you coach Hill Murray, did an outstanding job with that team. Now that you reflect back on that year in the state tournament run, anything you do differently looking back?
Yeah, we beat Cloquet in the first round. That's about it. No, we only had 5 seniors that year, and we were really happy and pleased with the way things turned out. And like I say, it's hard for the kids that won everything the year before, and so it was hard for them to come back again the next year and lose in the first round. And it's real hard for a team like that to play the next couple of games in the consolation bracket. And probably the hardest thing for me was trying to motivate those kids for those games. You wouldn't think you'd have to do that, but like I say, they had real high expectations coming off of the previous year, and it's always real difficult for that. But they're all good kids, and it's a great experience coaching them. Every year it's something a little bit different.
I know a challenge for you there, I remember the expression on your face when it was at the end of the game, you were down a goal or two trying to come back, and you had 2 God bouts in the penalty box.
That was kind of interesting. A friend of mine asked me, he says, now when you called your timeout and you were 2 men short and you're going to pull your goalie, he says, I want to know what play you were showing those guys to do. He says, I've never heard of anybody that can come up with a play to try to score a goal when you're 2 men short. But we try, you got to pull something out of your hat, and you try to, and you try to make the kids believe. And I think the kids at Hill Murray, I mean, even back when I was playing in high school, I didn't play for Hill. They were always a rival of ours when I was at Johnson. And the Hill Murray kids always had this winning tradition and this winning attitude, and it seemed like when the chips were down, more times than not, they'd always find a way to win. And we tried to encourage that every year, and it continued. More times than not, we always found a way to win. And I was trying to reach in my bag of tricks, but I guess I didn't reach deep enough that night.
Well, you had a lot of success there. You're away from the game now. Do you miss coaching?
Well, there's a lot of parts I do miss, but I have 2 young daughters now I spend a lot of time with. And so that gives me a lot of enjoyment there. Spending time with my family, my wife and my 2 daughters. I come out to the games here and I get a little bit anxious, and you see some things, you go, boy, it'd be nice to try to work with the kids on this or that. But it's nice I can just come out, watch the game, go home, and I can sleep at night. Don't have to worry about anything.
Well, it's great to see you again, Bob. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me out. Thanks.
Bob Schwartz, former coach of the Hill Murray Pioneers. Let's go back up to Anthony.
All right, thanks, Tarmo. And hockey fans, make sure you join us coming up this weekend here on KABL. It's MIAC hockey. St. Thomas and Gustavus will square off. We'll be with you Saturday night. The Puckheads will hit your living room live at 7:20. The puck will hit the ice at 7:30. The Gusties and the Tommies as we continue to follow the MIAC title chase. Don't miss that one. Here tonight, we have had an outstanding first 2 periods. We entered the second period with the Bears in front 2-1, and they quickly added to that. A great diving play by Pete Rode, got the puck out front, and it was tipped in by Mosley, his 6th of the year. Bears were in front 3-1. Then just about a half minute later, the Bears struck again. Will got loose out front and tipped it in. That made it 4-1 Bears. The Pioneers come back the other way on a much-needed goal on a great individual effort. Maurer gets loose, and he sends it over to Quinlan, who buries it behind New Olney. That made it 4-2. And then with just under 5 minutes to go in the second period, it is Brandon Samper, and watch the move as he gets around Matt Peterson and then sticks it between the legs of Dave New Olney. And that made it 4-3. That's where we stand right now. We are 25 seconds into this third period. Face-off coming to the right of New Olney. 4-3 in favor of the Bears. 15 minutes of hockey remaining at least. Puck goes into the corner. They tie up there. And we'll get another face-off as Rode falls on the puck. It'll come to the right of New Olney. We've played just 38 seconds as you look at Brett Blair. Blair, what a night he had last week as he scored 5 assists against Irondale. Also chipped in a goal in the game. Pioneers will make a late change. Pete Rode, who Mike Schwartz says has the best hands of any player I've ever coached.
He's coached a lot of players too.
He certainly has in a lot of countries. Off the draw, puck goes back in the net. Rhodes slams it around for Rigstad, who relays it up ahead on the left wing for Schwartzbauer. Now to Jensen at center. And Mosley couldn't stay on side. He'll have to go back and retouch. Pioneers carry out of the zone. Maher now dumps it to Samper. Brandon Samper winds up and fires, and New Olney pounces on the rebound. We'll get a face-off in the Bears zone.
Brandon Samper really has a little extra bounce in the step tonight, doesn't he? From what we've seen earlier in the season, has a little bit more confidence and seems to be a real integral part of their attack now.
Well, now Tarmo with 3 points tonight. He has 8 in their last 6 games after picking up just 1 point in their first 4 heading into the Civic Center. Here's Spears from the point, fires, and New Olney with a nifty glove save. We'll get another face-off in the Bears zone. Keith, it's critical, obviously, at any point in a 4-3 hockey game, but I think Dave New Olney needs to have a big first few minutes here because the momentum was all Hill Murray's when the teams left the ice.
Hill Murray took over in that second period. They found themselves down 4-1. I'm not sure what Coach Rawlik said, but it definitely worked. They've been hustling their butts off. They've been flying all over the ice. They've been winning all the small races, and that's why you look up at the scoreboard and they're within 1 goal. New Olney's going to have a lot of shots fired at him in this third period. So far, he's got off to a good start, and he's had a good look at the shots that have been at him.
Great chance there, but Mauer's pass was off the mark. He had Samper all alone out front. Samper dumps it into the zone, too far for Beldy. Now Mauer takes it away from Simonson, cuts to the slot and scores! Nate Mauer, his 7th goal of the year. And the Pioneers have tied it at 4. What a tremendous individual effort by Mauer.
It didn't start out like it was going to be much of a chance there. Mauer coming in, one-on-one. There you see him heading to the bench, a very pumped up team. Look at that celebration there at the Pioneer bench. They want this one badly. Take one more look at it there. There you see it as he took the puck right off of the stick of Luke Simonson. Here's another look at it there. You saw Simonson. He cut to the inside of him, and coming up with the save there initially was the goaltender New Olney as he had caught that one on the inside of his arm, but it dropped down and dribbled over the net.
And it is tied at 4 with 13 minutes to play. Klossner at center. His pass hit the skate of the referee. All the players are back looking for it in the corner. Loose puck comes free to O'Gary. O'Gary through the neutral zone. He's taken down from behind by Quinlan. Graham pokes it ahead for Laszlo. Now Tanabe has it. Tanabe hits the White Bear line, fights through a check, centers right on the stick of Rode, and New Olney is dumped inside the White Bear net. We'll get a face-off in the Bear zone. Keith, how about the play by Nate Mauer as he picks the pocket of Simonson, fights off his check, and buries the tying goal.
Pure hustle. He found himself in the middle of a line change. One of his forwards had already skated off and was on the bench, so really they were forechecking with only the 4. Just pure hustle and determination scored that goal for Mauer.
Take another look at that action in front of the White Bear net as New Olney. I would say that he took the worst in that exchange. His teammates go back to check on their goaltender.
Not a real comfortable place to land there with that post sticking out in the middle of the net.
Face-off comes to his right. Pete Rode comes away with it for White Bear. Rode dumps it to center. Mosley tipped it, but it's still going to be icing, and the face-off will come back in the Bear zone. 12:25 remaining third period. Bears and Pioneers are deadlocked at 4, and it appears that we will continue the tradition of tight hockey games when these two get together.
maybe we had a premonition of what was going to happen here, Anthony, in the JV game before this when Hill Murray scored with 2 seconds left to send that game into overtime. They were down 2 goals, got the tying goal with 2 seconds left, and then won it in overtime. So it's like we're heading to a similar type of game here with the varsities.
14 of the last 17 meetings between these teams has been decided by 2 goals or less. And 2 of those 3 that do not fall into that category occurred last season. The Pioneers won the first meeting in conference play, and the Bears came back to win the second. Actually, I take that back because the first game was 5-3 here. So 15 of the last 17.
I was just going to say that.
I could see you counting on your fingers.
I ran out, that's why I stopped.
Schwartzbauer for Mosley at center. Fights through a check from Hurley. Wolf takes it away. Mosley runs into Scribner, knocks him down. Puck's between his skates. They still tie up for it. Finally, it comes free, and Kruger plays it back through the neutral zone. Hurley lost it. Here's Pete Rode for White Bear. Rode into the circle. He whistles one just wide. Rebound comes all the way back down into the Bear zone. New Olney leaves it for Rickstad. Rickstad has it taken away by Wolf. Wolf centers. Loose puck high in the slot, and Jensen clears it to center. Schwartzbauer hustling after it. Pokes it by. Now Jensen fires, and that goes off of Blair. Maher at center. His pass hit Simonson. Beldy picks it up and carries back into the zone. And New Olney's not taking any chances at this stage. 11 minutes to go. Face-off coming in the Bears zone.
Again, good chances at both ends. Anthony, what about that wrist shot by Peter Rode there, getting it off so quickly, and you could barely even see it as it shot wide and made it all the way back around to the other end of the ice.
He has one of the quickest, hardest shots that you'll find. And it's interesting because Coach Schwartz says, doesn't call him a shooter, doesn't call him a sniper, but that shot is one of the more difficult to stop that you'll find. Will sandwiched as he crosses into the Hill Murray zone. Puck goes into the corner. Will has it, centering. Will gets it back, and a loose puck that Rose just misfired on. That comes loose. We get a face-off in the Hill Murray zone with 10:39 to go.
Andy Will, a senior who's worked his way into the lineup this season, very quietly has run up 6 goals here, the 6th one coming earlier in this game. Been a real solid performer, and out in front there, almost a chance at number 7. Get a good look there at Cody, kind of falling off balance, and fortunately for him, falling into the post, so it goes off the moorings.
Start to wonder, Tarmo, that if we have another whistle, that next penalty is going to be tremendous. And let's hope this one is not decided that way. Love to see a pretty 5-on-5 game winner, wouldn't you?
You certainly would, but you almost expect a few, and I'm sure the tempers are still out there. They're doing a good job of holding them in, really, for the intensity it's there and for the hitting. We've seen some flares there early on, a few high sticks, but hasn't been that bad.
Face-off will come to the left of Cody. Get a look at Mike Schwartz. He's seen a few of these go down to the wire over the last couple of seasons. His team last year found themselves in tight games just about every night out. Puck in the corner. Pioneers finally dig it loose, and they come to center. Quinlan's pass was intercepted by Rickstad. Bears finally control it, but now Quinlan comes away with it. Quinlan fights through a check at the White Bear line, but lost the puck, and Rode has it for the Bears. Rode up the right wing, works around Graham, cuts out front. Cody stopped him again. But Pete Rode has had so many point-blank shots, and Cody has stopped them all tonight. Podomanik at center. Dumps it back into the Pioneer zone. Hill Murray tries to catch the Bears in a line change, but the pass off the mark at center. Simonson Dumps it back into the Hill Murray zone. Mosley's there, centers. Schwartzbauer couldn't direct it home. Rebound goes behind the net. Graham. It comes off the side of the goal, and Mosley had a chance. But now Blair. Rink wide pass, and it was tipped at center. Up among the paying customers tonight. We'll get a face-off in the neutral zone with 9:11 remaining. But Tarmo, I was mentioning the tight games that the Bears have been in. They set a school record last year by playing in 6 overtime games. They've already played in 1 this year, and looks like they could be on their way to number 2.
Well, and they'll have a few more before they're done, but it's something special when it's these two going head-to-head and running into overtime. And who will ever forget Todd Strokerich putting away the rebound at the Mariucci Arena last March.
Which we reminded the fans of in our pregame tonight. Coach Schwartz calls it, without a doubt, the biggest goal in White Bear Lake history. And there have been some big ones. And there have been some big guns and some big goal scorers that have come through this school. 9:03 remaining in a 4-all tie. Scribner has it for the Pioneers. Circles his net. Plays it at center, too far for Hurley. Simonson dumps it back, and Scribner regains control. Scribner plays it off the boards. Blair deflects it at center. Hurley hustling up the left wing. Intercepted by Jensen, who throws it back out to neutral. Kruger backhands it into the zone. Peterson goes behind his net. He's spun around by Wolf. Simonson tips it ahead for Schwartzbauer. Schwartzbauer rink wide for Mosley. Mosley takes a big hit from Shane Spears right in front of his own bench. The body's starting to fly. Hurley, and they're offside as Wolf drifts in across the line. Face off back out of the neutral zone. She's going to look at Brian Hurley. He's one of the leaders on this team, one of the Pioneers that helped turn it around last week. 4 goals against Irondale, another against Moundsview. Watch the hits in front of the bench area.
Big hit there at the end by Blair. We wondered who would really come on as the goal scorer this year for the team. We thought it would be Samper. Instead, it was Tim Wolf coming on early, showing that he has an outstanding shot. And now Hurley has picked it up and passed Wolf, and they're starting to spread it out a little bit more.
Pete Rhodes sailing through the neutral zone, gets it to Will in the corner. Spears took it away for the Pioneers. Rigstad kept it in. Here's a chance as Will gets the loose puck, and he fires a one-time blast right into the pads of Cody. Beldy at center. Works against Rigstad. Drops it for Samper. Samper circles around Rigstad, still with it. Out to the point. Maher fanned on it, got it back, and a shot went off the skate of Maurer, hit the side of the goal. Samper gets it back. Maher winds up, fires, that goes wide. Spears at the near point, his shot hit Beldy's skate. Bears poke it to center. Rose lost it. Maher dumps it back in. We've passed the halfway point of this third period. And we get a whistle behind the play. And we're going to face it off in the neutral zone. Not sure what the whistle was behind the play. Official saw some pushing and shoving. I thought he was going to call coincidentals, but instead we'll just face it off in the neutral zone.
He was looking over also at the bench. I thought there may be too many men coming, but anyway, White Bear doing a good job just to get it out of the zone, but give Hill Murray credit. They put on all that pressure, and when White Bear tried to break out, Hill Murray there to meet it and dump it right back.
Kiefer ahead to Guerin, back to Kiefer. Guerin along the far board, centered it, and Podomanik flipped it wide. Loose puck on the side of the goal. Quinlan plays it to the near boards, a shot right on from Simonson. That was broken up. Pioneers finally gained control. Laszlo off the boards for Quinlan, and he is offside. Face-off comes back in the neutral zone. 6:48 to go, and Keith, it appears the teams have gotten their second wind and have started to skate once again.
Well, we've seen somewhat of a roller coaster here. White Bear came out flying. It was the Pioneers that dominated about midway through the second period. They turned on the afterburners, came right back. They've tied the game up. They're down 3 goals, and like you said, now it's about dead even. They've gotten their second wind, and it's an exciting end-to-end hockey game here for the next 6 minutes.
Off the draw, Pioneers control. Kruger through the neutral zone. Fires one into the far corner. Hurley gives chase. Hurley works around Schwartzbauer. Rigstad's there. He bumps with Hurley, and Jensen comes away with the puck. Bears clear to the line, but not out. Scribner kept it in. His shot hit traffic, went to the corner. Rigstad behind the net. He's bumped from behind and lost the puck. Here come the Bears. Mosley pokes it to the line. Blair kept it in. Blair tries to get it to Wolf. He'll track it down in the corner. Blair still with it. Now Rigstad ties him up, and the Bears are able to clear. Rink-wide pass is picked up by Maher in his own zone. Maher for Scribner with 6 minutes to go. No icing as the Bears tip this one at center. Rigstad goes back to pick it up. Rigstad's pass, it was knocked down by Beldy, and he knocked it down with a high stick, so the faceoff will come back outside the zone with 5:54 to play.
Steve Rollick shaking his head on that one. Didn't really appreciate that call, as stick wasn't real high when it was knocked down. And every face-off becomes important. Every time it goes back and face-off is next to your goaltender, you worry that much more.
Watch it again, and I thought it was a high stick, Tarmo, and as you see it there, it probably was the correct call. Samper backs it into the corner. Peterson back to pick it up. Plays it around behind the net to Simonson. Simonson starts up the right wing. His pass at center, springs Gallinen, and Rose brought it back in offside as Gallinen couldn't control the long pass. We've had an awful lot of offsides and icings here in the third period. It's been a choppy first 9.5 minutes.
Well, both teams are starting to get a little bit tired out there too. Hill Murray doing a little better chance of covering up early when they were, the second period, when they were down, they were really pressing, and White Bear had so many chances going the other way. Now they're coming back a little bit better, and that's where some of those offsides are coming from. They're able to deflect it there at the blue line away from a man, and that drop brings the second man in offside.
Gallinen goes back in his own zone for the Bears. His pass was deflected by Maurer, but he gets it back. Gallinen into the Hill Murray line, into the circle. He fires, and Cody stopped him. Loose puck, and it rolled right out front. Wiesner broke it up for the Pioneers. Cody's doing a little housekeeping around the net, and the puck all of a sudden appears in his vision. Wiesner lost it back in the net. Rode comes away with it. Penalty coming against Brandon Samper. He will go for holding. The time is 10:05. No, it's going to go against White Bear Lake. A bizarre call. I thought the Bears should have had a penalty in the neutral zone moments ago. They didn't call that one. Now watch this. They get Jeff Rose for holding.
Well, Jeff Rose was hanging on. That was an interesting call. Jeff Rose was hanging on to the arm of Samper. And I think what happened was that Rose was really called for what you may call a dive there for trying to set up that play. Rose was hanging on to the man, trying to stop him, and then fell, kind of clutching at him.
I like the expression on Mike Schwartz's face right there. Who exactly was he holding as he wound up face first on the ice?
Right. If you look at the way it turned out, certainly is a bizarre call. Seeing the replay, you get some idea of why it was called that way. Still a strange call. Maybe we can get one more look at it here. And you'll see him as he goes to the corner, you'll see Rose hanging onto the arm. Here's one more look here. And that's Rose there. Number 7, he grabs onto Samper. He's holding that right arm.
But the arm is not up for the official until Rose goes down. That's what doesn't make any sense.
And Samper breaks free and goes for the puck.
Because he thought the penalty was coming against him.
But the point is, he was still able to get to the puck.
Right.
He wasn't held.
But he came away thinking, he came away with his arms out like I didn't hook him. The funny part about it, Tarmo, is I thought the Bears should have had a penalty in the neutral zone just moments before that when a Hill Murray player was hooked from behind and pulled down. They didn't call that one. And then they call this behind the play. Now the Pioneers are on the power play for just the second time tonight. They are 0 for 1. Fourth penalty against the Bears for 8 minutes in the game. Here's a loose puck, and it came out front. Pioneers couldn't cash in. Kruger dumps it to the corner. Rigstad spun around by Wolf. They tie up. Puck finally comes loose. Bears control it. Rode tried to clear, and he finally does. 1:20 remaining in the power play as Kruger goes back to pick it up. Brandon Samper will lead the rush. 4 minutes to go, regulation time. Bears 4, Pioneers 4. Quinlan tied up by Rigstad behind the net. Blair comes away with it. Out to the point, Samper. Samper plays it for Kruger. Top of the circle, a shot. And New Olney makes the save. He covers it up as the bodies begin to fly. Face-off will come in the White Bear zone. Keith, I think the fact that we're on a power play here may be the best supporting case for your now famous marble theory.
I think if you look back at when that whistle was blown, like you said, the hand went up late. It went up after the opposite player had been dumped to the ice. So it's kind of a judgment call on exactly what happened. If you roll back and you take another look at it, notice when the whistle was finally blown, I believe it was Brandon Samper that touched the puck first. So if he touches the puck first, you would guess it would have been just the opposite. The penalty would have been called on Samper.
Faceoff comes to the right of New Olney. Keith, the longer we watch that replay, the more confused we get. So we've decided not to look at it again. Faceoff will come to New Olney's right. 56 seconds remaining in this interesting power play chance for the Pioneers. Rigstad will draw against Blair. And the faceoff will drift into the neutral zone. Samper goes back to pick it up. Plays it for Wolf. Wolf tipped it ahead to Gallatin. Mosley pokes it into the corner. Wolf goes back to cover up. Tim Wolf overskates it in his own zone. Pioneers having problems getting set up. Samper starts the breakout as he circles the net. Dumps it back to Kruger. Kruger, right wing for Blair. Blair fell as he crossed into the White Bear zone, and Pete Rode attacks him and plays it to center. Randy Gallatin shorthanded for the Bears. Gallatin works against Samper and never got a shot away as Samper goes sailing into the goal. 15 seconds in the power play, and the Pioneers haven't manufactured much.
Give some credit for Brandon Samper defensively for two things. Number one, he was able to break up the rush there by Gallatin. Number two, he was able to do it without drawing a penalty. You know, if there would have been any kind of a trip, any kind of a play that was close to a penalty, it would have been called. But he didn't draw one, went down, and then went into that old net again.
These teams have played 3 overtimes since they moved to the Twin Cities Suburban in 1987. Pioneers winning 3-2 in the 1991-92 season and a 3-all tie back in the 88-89 year. Bears hammer it down. This will be icing. And Bears are back at full strength. 2:50 remaining, third period. 4-4 tie. And Mike Schwartz doesn't like the icing call either because he thinks they played the puck before the penalty had expired.
It was very close there when that puck was cleared down. It was just when the player was stepping back on the ice, and that's, again, you go back to those face-offs next to your goaltender, and because of that, once again, even though the penalty is over and they survived it, face-off to the left of New Olney here as we come down to the final 3 minutes of the game.
Face-off will come to the left of New Olney. Klossner will draw against Rose. Bears control it. Comes around to the near point. Graham tees it up, fires, and it was tipped out front by Klossner, but up and out of play. Face-off will come to the right of New Olney. And is that Keith down there fighting for the puck?
I think Keith's going to break that one up, aren't you?
I do have a little size advantage for once.
That might be the Tarmo Kubic fan club.
Well, I think only a free puck would pull them away from Keith. I'm sure they've been hanging around him all night.
Face-off coming to the right of New Olney. Now is that a Tarmo Kubic fan club hat?
I think it is. He looks a little old for my fan club, though.
Bears ice this one. Graham chases it down, and we will get icing. Face off back the other way, 2.5 to go. A critical game for both teams. For the Bears, for obvious reasons, as they come in 3-8, 0-1 in the Twin Cities Suburban, having lost to Forest Lake on Saturday night for the first time in school history. Pioneers with a chance to go 3-0 and move essentially 4 points in front of the Bears in the standings, because the Bears would have their 2 losses and could really take a firm hold on this Twin Cities Suburban East race. Tanabe fires, hit a defenseman, comes to center. Gallatin has it for the Bears. Gallatin into the Pioneer zone, centered, and Rose was stopped by Cody. Pete Rode goes back to center, dumps it to Rickstead. Tanabe in his own zone. Plays it rink wide for Graham. Graham for Quinlan, pokes it ahead to Laszlo. He has Kloster with him, and he fires right on Newolny with a save. Quinlan back to Laszlo, centered, Kloster backhand. Quinlan's shot was stopped by Newolny. 1:45 to play. Will pokes it by Graham at center. Tanabe back for Hill Murray. Ridden off the puck by Pete Rode. Laszlo tried to center. Will broke it up. It's kept in at the point by Tanabe. Hard work by Tanabe to maintain control. Now he gets it back. Centers, Hurley, Blair fired it wide. Blair got it back. Did they score? Yes. The Pioneers lead. 1:18 remaining. The official was the last to know. Brett Blair, I believe, fired it from behind the net. And Blair has picked up his 6th goal of the year.
And his biggest goal of the year, and his ugliest goal of the year, but he will take it. And Steve Rollick will tell us after the game the same thing. Hard work makes a difference. And there's an example. That line was working hard. Tanabe doing a good job staying with it, tried to get it out in front. There you see it loose, and there you see the shot going wide, but Blair chases it down, and watch as he sends it out in front, and it just goes in off the right skate of goaltender Newolny. As he tries to back in, nobody really sees it. The official didn't see it, but kind of hard to argue it when it's sitting there. What a huge turnaround here for the Pioneers.
Keith, you had to have a great look at the action down there. I think to say that the Pioneers worked for every inch of that goal is an understatement.
Well, they worked hard. They were getting a lot of good scoring opportunities and good shots off. Newolny was there for the answers, but you'll notice a lot of the shots that they were firing during that last skirmish were all going wide. The Pioneers were camped out behind the net, and that's exactly Blair. He just fired as fast as he could. He turned around and fired it. Went off the back of the skate of Newolny, and when it hit the back of the skate, it ricocheted quickly up into the stuck in the net. That's why everybody was kind of lost, and there's players skating all over. Like you said, I don't think anybody but Blair knew it went in the net.
The Bears have won the last 2 meetings against Hill Murray. The Pioneers are trying to continue the White Bear tailspin by pulling a victory from the jaws of defeat here tonight. For the first time all evening, the green and white are in front. And not a bad time to have your only lead with 1:18 remaining in regulation.
But you know they have one thing left to do, and that is to stop the attack of White Bear. And you know the big guns are going to be coming out, and that's who's there now, the big first line, Jensen, Mosley, Schwartzbauer.
And he has rejoined Randy Gallatin and Pete Rode with this group up front. He abandoned this 5-man unit after the back-to-back losses last week. Now the Bears have it. Newolny will head for the bench. Pete Rode fires. Cody stopped him. Loose puck out front. And Cody covers up. We'll get a face-off. 1:07 remaining, and the Bears nearly tied this one up.
This time it was Mosley in the crease. And how many shots has Peter Rode had tonight? Quite a few. There's another good wrist shot. This time put it on the net, forced the save. Then the puck was loose. Take one more look at it. You'll see Rode goes to his left, gets off the quick shot. Right pad save there, and then it's loose in the crease. Good thing he gets to it. There's Jensen again, whacking away at the rebound, and Mosley right next to him.
Mike Schwartz nearly killed himself falling off the boards on his bench as he tried to get instructions to his goaltender. He'll head for the bench right now, but Maurer intercepts and delays it. Rode goes back to pick up for the Bears. He ties up with Wolf. Schwartzbauer picks up the loose puck. Schwartzbauer rink wide at center, intended for Jensen. It pops up in the air. Scribner gloves it and drops it. Schwartzbauer has to go back and pick it up. 35 seconds to go. Pete Rode has it. Can the Bears get Nowolny to the bench? Jensen couldn't handle the pass. Hurley steals. Schwartzbauer to center. It's wrapped back in by Maurer. 22 seconds to go. Hurley and Wolf working hard on the forecheck. Hurley has it. Rode takes it away, just 13 seconds to go. Here's Jensen out of his own zone, dumps it to the Pioneer line, and they're well offside. Schwartzbauer has to get back onside, and Jensen fires. This one's over. Schwartzbauer wants 1 second on the clock, and he's going to get it. Cody hung on to that shot from Jensen, and they will be putting 1 second back on the clock. Don't celebrate just yet.
Pioneers are just finding that out right now.
And it is the proper call, Tarmo. Cody hung on. They blew the whistle. There was 1 second on the clock, and then it wound off.
That 1 second was on there for a long time. I'm surprised they hit the switch over there and let it go. I think the feeling was.
Now they've decided to end the game. Now the officials will be talking about this one, I'm sure, with Mike Schwartz, although 1 second, it's probably not enough time to make anything happen, but the Pioneers win this one in dramatic fashion. They trailed 4-1 and were going shorthanded 3 minutes into the second period. And from there, they turn it around and come back to win it by a final score of 5-4. Stay with us. Our post-game show is coming up next. This is Prep Hockey 95 on KABL. Here is the game winner. And as Tarmo calls it, Brett Blair's ugliest goal of the season. I'm sure Blair will take it nonetheless. It means a victory in the hated rivalry with the Bears. It gives Hill Murray a come-from-behind victory in which they once trailed 4-1 and were about to embark on a shorthanded situation. And Tarmo, I think that's the biggest key in this game. White Bear scores to make it 4-1. Shane Spears takes the roughing penalty at the exact instant that the goal is scored. They're about to go shorthanded. The Bears have all the momentum. They've already scored twice in the first 3 minutes of that period. If Bill Cody doesn't make a couple big saves and the Bear penalty killers don't, or the Pioneer penalty killers don't come through there, this one's a laugher.
That really turned it around. That was a chance right there to have a 5-1, 6-1 game. We talked about how aggressive the penalty killers were. Jared Lazel came out and hit anything that moved in front of him. You could just see them going out all over the ice. Bears really never had anything going on that power play. Couldn't get any momentum. Really didn't get any good scoring chances. As soon as that penalty was over, that's when the Pioneers started to come back. But still, Cody still had a couple of big saves to make when White Bear did have chances, and he came up with each of them. And then once the roll started, the Pioneers just couldn't be stopped.
Now, the Pioneers were on a roll, and they were doing it with what Steve Rollick likes best, and that's hard work. Keith Ebensteiner is with one of those hard workers and the man who preaches it. Brett Blair, the game-winning goal scorer, and Steve Rollick. Take it away, Keith.
Brett, first of all, we want to ask you, tell us exactly what happened. It was a perfect example of how hard work pays off. Tell us what happened in the last goal.
Well, really, the puck just came out front, and I shot it, and I missed the net, and the puck's just sitting there behind the net, and it like squirted out to the side, and I just went over there and I saw the goalie sliding across, and I thought if I just throw it out, maybe it'll bank off him, and it did. It went right in the back of the net.
Probably wasn't the way Coach Rawlik drew it up on the chalkboard, but nonetheless, it was a game-winning goal.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take anything.